Title 42 will remain in place for now as the Supreme Court pauses ending the Trump-era policy. Mark Morgan helped to implement the legislation as the former acting commissioner of Customs and Border Protection. And this morning he joins us with this latest development. Good morning, Mark. First, what was your reaction when Chief Justice John Roberts put the temporary hold on terminating this policy?
Yeah, Jan, I really had two kind of simultaneous reactions to that. One is, hey, this was a good decision. This was the right decision at the right time. But a close second to that is, it's important that American people, we can't get distracted on what the reality is, because whether Title 42 stays in place or not, let's keep in mind, we're already in the throes of the worst unmitigated self-inflicted crisis at our southern border that we've seen in our lifetime. In the first 23 months, we've seen over 5.5 million attempts to illegally enter our border. 4.5 million of those have been encounters. Over 1.2 million have been gotaways. So regardless if Title 40, and that's been with Title 42 in place for the past 23 months. So regardless of whether Title 42 stays in place or it goes, American people have to understand we are right now in the throes of an unsustainable crisis that's jeopardizing every aspect of our nation's public safety and national security.
And when you think about those staggering numbers that you just mentioned, what happens when it does finally come to an end? Because we have not heard or seen any kind of plan in place from the current administration when it does finally come to an end.
Yeah, nor have I. And I talk to Border Patrol agents almost on a daily basis, Jan, except for if you consider a plan, let's just throw some more money at it, right? And cause even more incentives for more illegal immigration and to make our border even less secure than it is right now, if that's even possible. Look, that's the reality that we're faced right now, is that once Title 42 ends, here's what's going to happen. Because about a third of those that have illegal entered, of the millions, they're being removed under Title 42. Well, once that goes away, what's going to happen? Those that were removed under the order now are going to be released into the interior United States. So we've got this vicious cycle that now that's just going to, as more individuals are released in the United States, that's going to encourage more to illegally enter. And the crisis that we now are under is simply going to get worse. And that's even hard to imagine right now. We're already at 8,000 a day. Remember, former Secretary Jay Johnson under then President Obama and Vice President Biden said 1,000 a day is a crisis. We're at over 8,000 right now. So it's even hard to imagine how it could get worse, but it will.
And you talked about all this money that's being thrown at the crisis right now. The Biden administration reportedly asking Congress for $3.4 billion. Money alone, as you mentioned, not going to slow the surge. Here's a tweet from Representative Chip Roy with a letter also that he sent to the Senate opposing the current spending bill, the $1.7 trillion spending bill. Where is this money going, Mark?
Yeah, look, in the over 4,000 page omnibus bill, it's absurd. Look, Representative Roy is on the right side of this. You cannot solve the unmitigated self-inflicted crisis on our southern border by simply throwing money at it. All of that is going to result to is putting more resources there and simply making it more efficient and effective to process and release people, to erase the bad optics from the conditions that we're seeing right now. That's it. This is not a resource issue. Now, Jan, don't get me wrong. You and I talked about this. Do we need more resources at our southern border? Absolutely. But resources alone will not fix this issue. What we need is a significant reversal and change in policy. That's what's driven this crisis, not a lack of resource. This is about policy. This is why Representative Roy and others demand that we should not spend one more dollar funding the very organizations that are responsible for the crisis at our southern border.
El Paso Mayor Oscar Leeser was initially hesitant about declaring a state of emergency, but then changed his mind when he witnessed all these migrants on the streets out in below freezing temperatures. Mark, what are the conditions like for Border Patrol agents right now and the migrants seeking asylum?
Yeah, on the agent side, Jan, you and I talked about that. On the mental side, look, their morale is the lowest it's ever been because every authority, a tool, and policy has been taken away. They can't do their job. They know that drugs, criminals, and potential national security threats are pouring in every single day. As far as the conditions, look, these are highly dedicated, trained and equipped agents. Don't get me wrong, it's hard for them, but this is what they're trained to do. For the migrants, they don't have those tools and training. But here's what I'll say to the mayor. First of all, your concern should be for Americans. That, again, Americans are dying every single day because of this administration's open border policies. But the migrants themselves, what I would say to this mayor, Jan, is, you know what? You're coming to the party is a little late. Where have you been for the past 23 months when we've seen an explosion of human trafficking and atrocities associated with that? or the expansion of young women and children being sexually assaulted on their journey? Where was the mayor when 53 migrants died in the back of a tractor trailer from asphyxiation, a horrible death? Where has the mayor been for the past 23 months when CBP has discovered over 1,300 dead migrants at our southern border? Yeah, you're a little too late. You should have been standing up, demanding that this be stopped right now. If you really care about the migrants, what you'll do is stop illegal immigration, take them out of the hands of cartels, and force them to come to our borders lawfully. That's what we need to do as a country.
Former Acting Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, Mark Morgan. Always great talking to you. Thanks for joining us.
You bet, Jan. Thanks.